Hey, dito ka muna, Bosita. Halika kaya, kailangan ko yung emotion lang tayo. Sandali lang, motion lang.
Motion.
Para lang extend tong inquiry.
Extend to
Suspend?
Hindi, i-extend.
Extend.
This committee hearing is now resumed on the part of the Committee on Public Order.
On the part of the Committee on Human Rights, hearing is resumed.
Okay, since in accordance with our rules, Section 11, Section 15, which states, 15? Section 15 states, yes, the termination of inquiry. The committee shall terminate an inquiry and submit a report thereon within 60 days, calendar days, and we are already exceeded the provision of Section 15 of the rules of the House, thereby constituting a violation of our own rules. So, we need a motion.
Mr. Chair.
Congressman Hakop.
May I move that we extend the hearing on the excess death pursuant to Section 15 of our Rules on Inquiry in aid of legislation. So move, Mr.
Okay, so
Chair.
there's a motion to
Second. Mr. Chair.
To extend the hearing on this excess debts issue of the Committee on Public Order and the Committee on Human Rights. So this it was duly seconded. Any objection? Hearing no objection, the said motion is now approved. So the next item of our agenda is the remarks of the chairpersons. Ako muna, partner. Good afternoon. Pasensya na po kayo kung inabot po tayo ng almost 2 hours of waiting. We extended our hearing. Unfortunately, it's not our own volition. But we will be expediting yung ating pong hearing for today's issue. So, good afternoon to our colleagues, resource persons, and guests. Welcome to the joint meeting of the Committee on Public Order and Safety and the Committee on Human Rights. This is our 5th joint meeting, and hopefully today we will be able to finally resolve all the issues raised in the House Resolution number 1481 and address the concerns discussed in the previous meetings. Kahapon po ay natanggap ng aking opisina ang official copy ng amendments to the International Health Regulation o IHR na inadapt ng 77th World Health Assembly na naganap sa Geneva, Switzerland noong May 27 hanggang June 1, 2024. Ang dokumentong ito ay galing mismo sa ating Department of Health. Ang mga representatives ng DOH na nagpunta sa nasabing World Health Assembly ay inimbitahan ng committee ngayong araw para may paliwanag sa taong bayan ang mga pinag-uusapan doon at mga opisyal na posisyon ng ating bansa ukol dito. Napaka-importante na maiklaro ng DOH sa atin ang mga adopted amendments sa IHR ay hindi makakasagasa sa karapatan at kalayaan ng bawat Pilipino. Nais din ng committee na marinig mula sa DOH na ang Pandemic Treaty, Convention or Accord na kasalukuyang pinag-uusapan ngayon ng mga member states ay nararapat na dumaan sa process of ratification sa Kongreso. Dapat din klaruhin ng DOH kung ano ang mga obligasyon ng ating bansa ukol dito at kung ano ang implikasyon kung sakaling hindi ito ma-ratify. Bago po tayo mag-umpisa, ay nais kong pasalamatan ang lahat ng dumalo sa ating pagpupulo ngayong hapon. Maraming po salamat at magsisimula na po tayo after the preliminary remarks of the Chairman of the Committee on Human Rights.
Salamat po, Chairman, sa aking mga colleagues and fellow members of the participating committees, resource persons na kaharap po natin ngayon, and our guests. Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat. Thank you again for sharing your time with us as we convene for this joint hearing of the Committee on Human Rights and the Committee on Public Order and Safety. Of course, the purpose of every legislative inquiry is to dive into the facts so that we can study the issues before us and make recommendations that will redound to the benefit of our people. The issues in this case include, as has been mentioned already by our chairman of Committee Public Safety, the possible ratification of the Pandemic Treaty and the International Health Regulation, or IHR, within the context of the close to 300,000 excess deaths that were reported by the PSA in 2021. To accomplish this task, it is essential for us to gather all the relevant information and necessary data to understand the various facets of all these issues. This, as we have learned, is a challenge in itself, as we have encountered concerns with regards to the data itself. Nevertheless, we must soldier on and maximize what we have. It goes without saying that we must ensure that our recommendations and actions are informed and serve the public good. As we proceed, I want to emphasize that we are here to listen, to inquire, to discuss, to deliberate, and ultimately to recommend actions that will safeguard the health of our people while respecting their rights. I again would like to extend my thanks to all our resource persons for their input and expertise. Your contributions are vital to the productivity and success of these hearings. I invite everyone here to engage constructively so that together we can navigate the issues on hand with the diligence they deserve. So in closing, I'd like to share a passage from the good book that underscores the value of every life and the significance of a task before us. In Jeremiah 30:17 it says, "For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord." Let this be a reminder of our shared duty to protect and cherish the lives of our fellow citizens and our collective responsibility to promote the welfare of our kababayan. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, maraming salamat po. Siguro simulan po natin doon sa mga representatives natin from the DOH to report to us what transpired doon po sa Geneva. So, can you kindly have you acknowledge the resource speakers? Not yet. The COMSEC is hereby directed to acknowledge the presence of the resource speakers and also take the oath of this first time who have attended this hearing. So ordered.
Thank you, Your Honor. The following members are present today: Honorable Romeo M. Acop and Honorable Joseph Stephen Caraps Paduano. The resource persons present are the following: from the Department of Health, Assistant Secretary Frances Cheryl Ontalan. From the Epidemiology Bureau, Director Alethea de Guzman. From the Bureau of Quarantine, Director Ferdinand Salcedo. From PhilHealth, the COO, Attorney Eli Dino Santos. And from the Food and Drug Administration, Director Cecilia Matienzo. We also have with us from DOH, Attorney Carmela Ojano and Ms. Athena de Guzman. From the DFA, Deputy Assistant Secretary Ambrosio Bryan Enciso III and Ms. Gladys Brohan. From the Philippine Statistics Authority, Engineer Marisa Grande, the Assistant National Statistician, Ms. Marjorie Villaver, and Ms. Nerissa Palangos. From the Lunas Pilipinas, CDCPH and Legal Light Workers for Life and Liberty, Ms. Sally Ann Clark, Attorney Christine Barbara Bellio, Attorney Alan Landrito, Dr. Godofredo Dalmacion, Ms. Sherry Patino, Ms. Janine Faye Tagarda, Ms. Joy De Los Reyes, Attorney Fidel Borja, Attorney Aaron Sagilon, Dr. Romeo Quijano, and Dr. Jade Del Mundo. That's all, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, so take their oath. Please.
May we request for those who are attending for the first time to stand and raise your right hand for the administration of oath. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this inquiry? Please respond with I do. Thank you. Please take your seat.
Okay, thank you so much. Good afternoon po. So, who are those people who have traveled to Geneva? Our representative in the World Health Assembly that was conducted from May 27 to June 1? Yes. Who are those people? Yes, madam. So, please state your name and your position in DOH on this committee, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honors. I'm Attorney Frances May Cheryl Ontalan, Assistant Secretary under the Office of the Secretary, handling the legal service and internal audit. My participation is actually as a negotiator for the intergovernment negotiating body for the pandemic agreement. What happened in the World Health Assembly is actually there are some agendas that are already adopted. This agenda are actually different sets of agenda, and it composes of different areas, especially connected to health, and some are also on the financial side. So there are two. In the World Health Assembly, we also provided our commitments with regard to our international stand in some of the diseases. Of course, our...
Doktora po kayo, ma'am?
No, I'm a lawyer po.
You are a lawyer?
Yes.
And so you were representing our country as co-facilitator to the different states on our region? Ganun po ba ang naging participation nyo?
No po.
Anong participation po ninyo doon?
I am authorized by the Office of the President to negotiate po for the
To
pandemic
negotiate on what?
agreement. Pandemic agreement po.
The pandemic agreement,
Yes.
the pandemic treaty.
Yes.
But how about the international health regulation that was adopted and ratified in Geneva?
it's
Were
a-
you a part of it?
It's a separate team. We have actually
So-
the group is called the Working Group on the International Health Regulations. Well, with regard to the pandemic agreement, there is a mandated body created by the World Health Assembly also, which is called the Intergovernmental Negotiating Body.
IHB.
INB.
So you
the
are a part
INB.
of the IHB.
INB.
International Negotiating Body, INB.
Yes. Yes,
You
Your
were
Honor.
a part of the INB. And also the
EB.
sino ang part nung sa International Health Regulation that was adopted nung June 1 by Tedros?
There was a drafting group that was created that
Were
was joined.
were those?
I am part of the drafting group.
So you
with-
were part of that group as well?
Not with the WGIHR, but because the committee that's handling the international health regulations and the pandemic agreement had decided to come up
So
with
you
a
have the
joint
authority
drafting
to
group.
tell us what this international health regulation all about? Because kahapon lang dinala sa amin itong international health regulation 2005 that was ratified nung June 1, 2024. Nandito na po. So andito pa yung mga highlighted na mga pagbabago sa international
Yes,
health regulation. You have the
there are.
copy?
Yes.
Can you kindly give also the members? Kasi ako actually ngayon ko rin lang nakita. And nakita ko na napakarami ng mga amendments. Are you privy? Are you privy with these highlighted words that are a part of the amendments that was done on the IHR?
For some, I am privy to it because I'm not really part of the WGIHR team. But during the drafting group, in the World Health Assembly, there are many drafting groups that were created during the World Health Assembly.
O sige, tell me, attorney,
attorney po.
ano yung mga salient points na binago sa international health regulation? Yung binabanggit namin dito na pinag-uusapan, na supposedly, nung 2023 ba, kasama na po kayo doon?
No po. With the INB po, with the pandemic agreement po talaga ako. They are different instruments po kasi talaga.
Yes, I know.
Yes po.
Yung instrument doon sa IHR, saka sa pandemic agreement, magkaiba talaga yun.
Apo.
So, ang binabanggit namin kasi dito, na nagulat na lang kami, na yung international health regulation, yung period of amendment and rejection noong December 1, hindi kami na-inform eh. Kasi hindi namin alam yung na bago doon sa international health regulation. And, according sa statement ni ni DOH Secretary DOH Secretary Herbosa, binded na tayo legally. Meron akong video. Are we legally binded?
For the last amendment, yes, it is already binding because
Anong amendment yun?
That's with regard to the procedural amendment regarding the force and effect of the amendments. Which
So,
it just only refers to the period, not necessarily on the substantial parts, which were later on negotiated by the working group.
so yung, para lang maklaro, no, before I give my time to the other members who wanted to ask questions, doon lang ako medyo particular eh. Doon sa period ng amendments na from 18 to 10 months, approve na yon.
Yes po.
Yes, so yun. Yun yung sinasabi ko na hindi tayo nabigyan ng pagkakataon dahil na-expired na and the DOH were telling us na hindi nila alam. Samantala kami dito, tanong kami ng tanong, ang sinasabi, wala silang alam. Even the representative that was given to us was not a Filipino na representative natin sa WHO. And may immunity siya to be invited on this hearing. But nevertheless, tapos na yon. So in other words, from 18 months, yung period of amendment sa lahat ng mga i-amend sa IHR, 10 months na lang. And yung tinatawag nating 2 years, ganun din, 1 year na lang.
1 year, yes.
So, in other words, itong pandemic treaty or agreement na now, pinag-uusapan na ninyo sa INB, am I correct? Na
Yes.
pinag-uusapan pa yan?
Still ongoing negotiations.
Yung pandemic agreement na yan, na treaty na yan. And that will be adopted after a year.
No po. It's a different one po. Just for the information of the committee po, we are abiding by the WHO Constitution. The IHR is under the Article 21 of the WHO Constitution, which refers to regulations, which is actually the listing of possible diseases that may be subject to regulations. But with the INB, it's actually created under Article 19 of the WHO Constitution, which actually requires the ratification of member states before it can be actually put into force and effect. So there's a difference between the two instruments. The IHR is actually called as a regulations because they see that it may eventually be changing according to the circumstances of the times. Unlike with the pandemic agreement, which refers to obligations that will really require the ratification or concurrence based on the constitution of the member state.
So yung mga pandemic, sa pandemic treaty, all the proposed amendments were already been received by our state.
With regard to the international health regulations po,
Hindi,
just
no.
clarify.
Separate yung instrument na yun, IHR
Yes.
okay na yun
Apo.
So, yung bagong pandemic agreement ngayon, kasi yung pandemic agreement
Yes.
that will be ratified as well, di ba? So, ang sinasabi nyo, nagkokonsulta sa mga member state. Is that correct na nagkokonsulta sa mga member state? Or the WHO will implement that after a year? Ayan na naman tayo,
No po, hindi po.
attorney, tanda mo.
No.
Nung December 1, sinasabi namin na expired na tayo. Hindi namin nalaman na talaga na-expired na tayo. So, hindi na tayo nakapag-propose ng amendments. We were never consulted. But, of course, but this agreement, yung pandemic agreement o treaty, iba to. Ito na yung protocol kapag sinabi nilang meron tayong pandemic. And all the things that happened during the COVID-19, again, yun na naman ang magiging protocol nila. And that is worrying us. Kasi marami ng mga bansa ang nag-exit sa WHO because of this, as I will borrow the words of Congressman Akop. Ano yan, pare? Martial law. Medical martial law. And we don't want that to happen. Na mabigla na naman ang mga members of this Congress that, ayan na naman, sila na naman ang masusunod pagdating ng pandemic. DOH na naman ang masusunod pagdating ng pandemic. Pag sinabi nyo na kulong kami, kulong kami. Lucky us, we are member of this Congress and we can attend the different hearings. Pero how about those unfortunate ordinary people who will be staying on their houses? sasabog na naman ang mga utak nila, masisira na naman ang mga negosyo. You have to consult with the legislative branch of the government. Inform us about this pandemic treaty. Ano nakalagay dito sa pandemic treaty? Are you free to tell us about this?
Your Honor, we have already submitted our report to the President. This is based also on one of our obligations and compliances as negotiator that we provide the report to the President. Insofar as the content of the pandemic agreement, anything that's in it still its negotiating status, so it may change from day to day. So that's the reason why at this point, if we state whatever is in the pandemic agreement, it may be changing as it goes. So considering that there is still yet no final consensus with regard to the pandemic agreement, it may change whatever is in it as of this date. Also, with regard to is also the worry with regard to the 1 year. It's rest assured that the pandemic agreement will really undergo the ratification process with the Senate. That's part of not just with regard to the WHO Constitution, but also in compliance with our Constitution, that it must undergo the concurrence of the Senate.
Okay. So, I'll be asking more questions in a while, but my co-chair wanted to ask some clarificatory questions.
Thank you, Chairman. So you were with the you were involved with in the international health regulation. Nung ginawa ito, yung lahat, no, including all the modifications and amendments, you were involved.
For the clarification of my participation po, I'm only involved during the drafting group during the WHA, which actually mandates for us to finalize the package of amendments. But we have our Epidemiology Bureau as our focal point for the international health regulations, and they have been attending the working group of the international health regulations. As for the side of the legal, we're just there to guide them whether the mandate of the WGIHR remains within Article 21 of the WHO Constitution.
Attorney, do we have other resource persons here who are with you in participating with the international health regulation, or ikaw lang?
No, Your Honor. With your indulgence, we also have Director Althea de Guzman, the Epidemiology Bureau Director.
Yeah, this lady is raising her hand. So can you please tell us about it?
So good afternoon, Chair, and to our representatives. I'm Dr. De Guzman. I'm amongst those who participated in the working group for IHR, but the Epidemiology Bureau was not alone there, sir. The country was also represented by participants from the Bureau of Quarantine, and eventually our legal service, as well as our Bureau for International Health Cooperation, sir.
Okay, what is the extent of your participation here? No, are you just observers, or you're allowed to debate or articulate or make some amendments to the international health regulation?
Sir, the participants during the WGIHR were allowed po to, we saw what were the amendments being negotiated on, and we were also the ones relaying the positions if there is a need from the country. We just like to relay that throughout the.
Can you give us an example of the amendments that you made?
Sir,
the international health regulations? You have a copy there, right?
Yes, sir.
So you could be able to give me an example of the amendment that you made.
Sir, from the Philippines, we actually
Unless otherwise, you just participated and said, okay, yes.
Sir, we didn't have.
Ano nangyayari niyan sa international thing natin, puro yes na lang tayo eh. I think we ought to be involved in that, isn't it?
Yes, we were actively involved,
So
sir.
give me an example of your amendment.
Sir, from our delegation, one of the principles po that we always parang fought for was to ensure that we maintain, number one, the principle of sovereignty, sir. So we ensured that the regulations po would say that it is by accordance with national law or it takes into consideration po ng ating local context.
You have a copy of that, no?
Yes,
You have
sir.
the copy of the international health regulations. I have a copy of it, no?
Yes,
Can
Mr.
you
Chair.
just show me any paragraph or any kind of recommendation you made in this international health regulation?
Sir, let me
Can
just...
you read?
Apo.
Can you read that to me here?
Sir, let me just pull up. I'll just get... I don't have the
Go ahead. I
full
want to
copy,
find
sir.
out. I want to find
But-
out. I
okay.
want to find out the extent of your participation.
Okay.
You
Sir,
know, I want to find out if the Filipino delegation is not only a yes person here.
Yes, sir. I think, sir, well, I'll just wait po for the copy if I can ask for the, ano. But, sir, another po that we did note is on Article 3 on principles, wherein the original IHR text, sir, did note following human dignity, respect for human dignity po. But we were also amongst those who supported the inclusion of the principles on equity
Yeah, I know.
and
I want you to
solidarity,
read
sir.
to me the
Yes, sir.
amendment that you made. Basahin mo sa akin. Okay, so I'll find out that you are actually participating in the writing of the amendments.
Hindi, we supported lang. Supported lang. Sir, let me just... I'm looking for that specific article I mentioned po. So, sir, on Article 3, Principles, it's the first paragraph wherein the original
Article
IHR...
3 principles.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The original IHR text stated, the implementation of these regulations shall be with full respect for the dignity, human rights, and fundamental freedom of persons. So that's the original text, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
However, when our other delegates proposed the inclusion of principles on equity and solidarity, it's one of those that the Philippines support because we felt that it is important for us to be better prepared and be able to respond quickly, that we have equitable access to technology know-how, health products, and solidarity to ensure that not just one country, but all countries are actually able to have the needed core capacities to say that we are more health secure.
The amendment here, Article 3 principles.
Yes, sir.
Number 1, the amendment here on the implementation of these regulations
Yes, sir.
with full respect for the dignity and human rights is and shall promote equity and solidarity. Were you the ones that made the amendment?
Sir, we weren't the ones who proposed that amendment. But
You were
when
the
it
ones who
was
opposed it.
proposed, no, sir. We were, the Philippines was sent the state party who proposed that amendment. But when that was proposed and presented po to the working group, we were amongst those who supported po that amendment.
Let me ask, how many were the participants there? All
Sir,
together.
Sir, all state parties.
All state parties. So, ibig sabihin, daan yan.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Now, are these people aware of what happened in the Philippines during the pandemic time, where all of those 300,000 excess deaths happened? Are they aware of that?
I cannot answer, sir.
You
if they
cannot
were
answer.
aware
It
po.
means that you did not in any way make them aware of what happened in the Philippines during the pandemic.
Sir, I am unsure if they are fully aware, but I do remember that if there are informal sessions, we do
I think
relate
if you are keeping a data of that, I think it is your duty to make them aware, isn't it? Because how could you be able to make rules like this and amend it if, for example, like the World Health Organization is not even aware of the killing or of the deaths that happened during the pandemic? 300,000 deaths that happened, excess deaths that happened. How can you then make a very good proposal on this if they were not aware of what happened in the Philippines? I am sure it also happened in different countries. But of course, ang concern natin ang Pilipinas. But the thing is this, lahat tayo rito naniniwala that we have more than 300,000 excess deaths, whether they died because of the COVID or they died because of the vaccine. hindi na pinag-uusapan niya. Pinag-uusapan dito, we have a record of more than 300,000 excess deaths in the country during the pandemic period. And I'm just asking you if you made them aware of that, because it must be the Filipino delegation that should make it aware, that should make the World Health Organization aware of what happened in this country.
Mr. Chair, as to the excess deaths, that is something that I am unsure if the delegations were not aware of. What we shared was the experience of the country and how we also had multiple spikes of cases, and how we also were challenged po in responding to the pandemic, especially at the start. And that is why the goal of the IHR is to strengthen those capacities po.
Ito lang, Director, you know what? Ang problema natin sa inyo, DOH, you're acting as professionals, Di ba? You're not acting as people who are concerned for the plight of the Filipinos. Am I wrong or right?
Of course not, sir.
Of
We are
course
very
not. Of course
concerned
not.
of
That
the
would be
plight of the
the best
Filipinos.
answer for it. Pero alam nyo, attorney, for example, director, you are all professionals. And I hope that you are not just acting like a lawyer or a doctor or professional, but you're acting also as one concern for the plight of the Filipinos. And I mean, itong hearing na itong pinag-uusapan natin, yung dami ng napatay. This is not only a concern of the Committee on Public Order, but a concern of the Committee on Human Rights. So, may data kayo nito, di ba? I mean, for several hearings, we have been talking about the data. Are you keeping a data of this? Do you have a complete data of this? Hindi nyo nga kami masagot on your complete data on this. Oo. Ngayon, ang tanong ko ganito. Napakasimple na ang tanong ko. All right? Does the World Health Organization aware of this excess deaths that happened in the Philippines during the pandemic time? That's my question. And the very people that should make them aware of that are, of course, the Filipino delegation, who are participants. You're not just observers. You are participants. Therefore, you have the right to speak for the Philippines. For the Philippines. Am I right? You have the right to speak for the Philippines. Am I right? Yes or no? All right. So therefore, you are not just there to make amendments. You are there to make them aware of what has happened in this country during the pandemic period.
Okay, thank you so much. Medyo puso mo. Kasi siya ang committee ng on human rights, no? And there are claims, no? A lot of groups are writing us a letter asking the justice on them because in their allegation, their rights have been violated. You are a lawyer, attorney, and we all know that it was an extraordinary thing that happened during the COVID-19 pandemic. We were all caught. We were all caught surprisingly, di ba? Because hindi natin alam, ano nga, Nobel nga eh. But come to think of it, yung pandemic, nangyayari yan 50 years, 100 years. Ang last na nalalaman natin yung flu, di ba? Spanish flu. Oh. Tapos ngayon, sasabihin nila, TED, WHO, prepare for the next pandemic. Prepare for the next virus. As if they are already conditioning the minds of our people in the whole world that a next pandemic is about to come. And that's the reason why the period of amendments were reduced from 18 months to 10 months. And the period of ratification from 2 years to 1 year. Kasi they wanted to, paikliin eh. Tapos, ayan na naman, sinabi ni Biden, prepare for the next virus. Di ba? And a lot of those people on the global elites are saying that ayan na, meron na. At tayo naman, Na-amend na yung International Health Regulation, okay na yung amendment, so tapos na yon. So ngayon, ratification na ng pandemic treaty ang kanilang tinatrabaho para na sa ganun, meron ng protocol on the next pandemic. We, in the Congress, we just have to be prepared. Especially kapag yung human rights na ang nababiolate. For example, yung lockdowns, di ba? Forced vaccination. We don't want that to happen again. Okay yung mga taong gusto magpabaksin. Ay, halimbawa, pupunta ka ng mga malls, pupunta ka ng school, hindi ka bibigyan ng vaccine. We know the rights of those vaccinated. Ako, vaccinated ako. Gusto ko, syempre, lahat ng mga kasama ko, vaccinated din. But their rights to their own health is their prerogative. Problema nila yun. Hindi na natin problema yun. So, don't force our people to get vaccinated. Sana. Di ba? So, the government should create a new protocol that will protect both rights of those who wanted to be vaccinated and those who do not want to be vaccinated.
Not only that, Mr. Chair, I also would like to raise the issue na yung debt na ito, more than 90% of that, no? Alam ko, hindi issue to sa DOH, more than 90% of that ng mga debt na yan have been, anong tawag doon, yung cremated. Cremated to. Now, when I was talking to one hospital and one director, anong sabi niya sa akin? Wala na po kaming authority dyan. It now becomes the authority of the funeral parlors if they will cremate the death because of the COVID thing. Pero doon sa Chile, Mr. Chair, hindi naman kinikremate yung mga tao, nililibing pa rin eh. Alright, why do we have, katulad ng lockdown why should there be cremation always sa lahat ng mga pasyente? Mayaman yan o mahirap. Kinikremate yan. Wala kayong pagpipilian. It means this, that our religious convictions have even been violated. Because there are religions here, like the Baptist Church, that do not believe in cremation. Still, kahit na hindi na kami nanawa sa cremation, still kinikremate ang mga tao. Is that not a human rights violation? Clearly, it is. Oh. Pero wala kami magawa doon. That's why I think, Mr. Chair, in the next hearing, we ought to invite some funeral owners here to find out why are they cremating and where did they get the rule that they should absolutely be cremated.
It's under the IATF rule. Actually, kung titingnan ko, hindi ko na mabasa dito, pero yung mga guidelines that was followed by the different sectors on the COVID approach was based on the different resolution, the IATF. At sa IATF, sino ba chairman doon? During that time, si Berger, anong role ni Berger? Berger. Bergere. Ano ba role ni Bergere?
You used to be the acting.
Your Honor, during the IATF...
Diba acting siya noon? Acting?
Initially po, she's the spokesperson. Then, when we do not have yet the Secretary of Health, she was appointed as officer in charge of the department.
Sige, let's invite her on the next hearing.
Yes. Hindi naman siya overacting.
Saka I think si Secretary Duque also was
Mr. Chair,
sa IATF sila eh.
I move that we invite the persons that have been mentioned and funeral parlors, Mr. Chair. We ought to invite them to come to shed light on this issue.
Okay, so we will be the COMSEC is hereby directed to invite those persons and also the siguro may mga association yan ng different antag din? Funeral parlors. May mga? Hindi, it's under also the DOH. Siguro we will be asking also a unit under the DOH who are implementing doon sa issuance ng cremation ng mga different funeral parlors kasi yung order no nanggaling naman sa IATF sa DOH di ba?
ATF ba?
Initially, I think we have a guidelines po with regard to disposal of dead persons, especially for infectious diseases. We followed that as well, but not necessarily just cremation. There is a certain number of feet that is required and the sealing of the casket.
Okay.
I think we ought to invite Mr. Chair, General Valdez on this because he is the head of the IATF. di ba?
General
Valdez ba yun? General Valdez ba? Galvez.
Galvez,
pala,
si Gerald Galvez also. And also, sino pa ba yan? Sige, we will be inviting over the other personalities. Siguro, let's ask those mga victims. Sinong personality who wanted to speak on the behalf of the yung mga victims? Andito rin si Miss Godo, si Ma'am Dalmacion. You are an epidemiologist. Sige. Nabubulol na po ako
I'm a
sa gutom.
pharmacoepidemiologist, sir, and a former chair of the Department of Pharmacology and Toxicology of the UP.
Sa pharmacovigilance?
I used to head the NADRAC, which was one
Sa NADRAC is
BFAD,
about the
National Adverse Drug Reaction Committee.
ito yung mga adverse effect.
Opo, pero yun po BFAD pa ang tawag sa kanya.
So
Ngayon
dati DFAD.
FDA na po.
So in other words, alam niyo yung mga pumapasok doon ng mga complaints about doon sa adverse effect nung after immunization.
Iba po yung program sa after immunization and the drug. Pero basically the same ang reporting, it's passive. And I found out that if you have passive reporting, the reporting is not so reliable. Hindi underreporting.
Wait. What are you saying? That all the report coming out from the pharmacovigilance are not reliable? Why?
Sir, hindi. I take that word reliable back. Hindi siya, spontaneous po siya. Kaya there is a chance of underreporting.
So in
Apo.
other words, there was like a 113,000 adverse effects that was recorded by the pharmacovigilance. So in other words,
Hindi ko po alam kung, sir,
it was established. It was established in the previous hearings that there were 113,000 adverse effects after immunization.
Opo.
So you were saying now that hindi siya ganun ka-accurate because of what?
Hindi po siya accurate in terms of the number of reports because it is spontaneous and voluntary. So, pwedeng underreported. May mga taong hindi magre-report dahil natatakot, hindi alam saan magre-report, at paano mag-report. It has to be initiated by FDA.
Maganda yan. Medyo ngayon ko lang nalaman yan because dyan nagsisimula yung mga nagko-complain sa atin ng mga victims na according to them that they have yung human rights were violated. So ang tanong sa DOH, how reliable is our pharmacovigilance is considering that you have reported to us in this committee 113,000 people who have experienced adverse reaction after no immunization. Pero yung serious doon, yung mga namatay, I think it's like 3,000 something or 6,000. So, can you kindly tell us yung sinasabi ni Miss Dalmacion? Being a part of the, part din po kayo ng dating Part po ba kayo ng DOH dati?
Hindi po. Disclaimer po, ako ay member ng Board of Medicine ng PRC sa ngayon.
Board of Medicine.
I retired from UP already.
Doktor po kayo?
Opo.
Ay, doktora po kayo. Sige. Anybody from DOH? Hindi yung
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I would like to let our technical person, Mark, to explain the pharmaco of FDA now. Thank you.
Sino si Mark? Mark, please. Sige, please answer.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry. The reporting, I think during the surveillance, actually the WHO recommendation is to have at least 10 reports per 100,000 doses administered. In our data that we captured during the AFI surveillance, actually we have 62.33 reports per 100,000 doses administered. So this is an indication that our surveillance system is actually working.
Anong ibig sabihin ng working? Nagbigay ka ng percentage, di ba?
Yes.
Ilan ang percentage?
Actually, it's an indicator po. The indicator is at least 10 reports.
So, for example, like 100 that have been vaccinated, okay, ilang porsyento ang effective doon?
Yes, po. The indicator po is, Mr. Chair, is 100,000 doses administered. So there should be at least 10 reports per 100,000 doses that is administered.
Oh.
And during the surveillance...
Is that your standard? Ano ba yung standard nyo? Ano ba yung standard nyo na effective yung immunization na yan? Ano yung standard?
Yes po, it must be at least 10. So,
At least 10 what? Percent?
10 reports per 100,000 doses.
10 reports per 100,000
Yes, Mr.
doses.
Chair. Yes.
Di ba ang liit nun?
But that is the indicators po, actually, that
Is that,
we are using.
that is only 0.0001. Is that your standard? To be able to find out
It's
that...
actually an international...
I'm still speaking.
Sorry.
To be able to find out that the vaccinations are successful, 0.0001.
Mr. Chair, that is the indicator is coming from the international po. It's actually from the WHO.
Why do we always have to follow the international thing? When magkaiba itong ating nangyayari sa Pilipinas. Why don't we have our own rules? Why do we have to follow the international rule? Why don't we have our own rules? DOH kayo eh. IATF. Bakit hindi tayo? Hindi, bawal ba yun? Gusto ko lang malaman. Bawal ba tayo magkaroon ng sariling rules? Bawal ba? I think, are we going to be penalized if we do not follow the international rule? Or we could be able to have our own rule?
We could have, Mr. Chair, but actually the indicator that we are using is actually used by almost all of
Kahit na,
the
I
country.
don't care about if almost all is being used. Ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, ang mga Pilipino ang namamatay. Alright. Kung ang Pilipino mga namamatay na ganun karami, ang pinag-uusapan, excess deaths eh. Ang pinag-uusapan natin, why don't we have our own rules as far as the standard of is concerned concerning the success of the vaccination? Di ba? Tama ba ako ron? Pero may pagbabawal ba? Pinagbabawal ba ng World Health Organization na magkaroon tayo ng sariling rule on that? Pinagbabawal ba nila? Is the World Health Organization now is the most sovereign among countries? And therefore, kung hindi natin susunod yung World Organization, walang kwentang bansa tayo?
You can reply, please.
Mr. Chair, it's not required naman po.
It's not
yun
mandatory.
Not mandatory.
Kasi
yun
nga,
pala eh.
yun lagi kasi sila kasi recommendatory. Recommendatory. So, not mandatory. Unfortunately, lahat ng dikta sa atin ng WHO, sinusunod natin talaga. Yan ang problem eh. To the detriment of the Filipino people. Like for example, yung protocol nung lockdown. Sino ba nasunod? WHO. Yung mga template ng ating IATF ng mga resolutions. It's all coming from the WHO that will be approved by the executive department. Yun ang sinasabi po namin sana ngayon. Dapat sana po, maiba na po yung protocol. Hindi na po sana katulad nung dati that we are forced to follow yung mga sinasabi ng WHO. Correct din naman si Congressman Abante that we need to have our own rules. Unless otherwise, that will be sanctioned by the WHO. And who is behind the WHO? The big states that is financing the WHO. Doon ba tayo natatakot? Because we will be sanctioned with the different sector. Like for example, hindi tayo pautangin o hindi ba tayo bibigyan ng mga aid, hindi tayo bibigyan ng mga donations. Those are the repercussions na nakikita natin that if ever that the different states will not follow, especially poor countries, will be sanctioned. Kaya nga yung ginagawa nila, okay, recommendatory kami. O ito, bigay nyo. O ito, gawin yung mga batas. Ito, gawin yung mga recommendation. So tayo naman, sunod. And that's the reason why I can feel the feelings of Congressman Abante that sana magkaroon tayo ng sariling stand natin because we have experienced that excess deaths. Sobrang kamatayan yung inabot natin. But again, this was experienced by the whole world. And we have experienced that. Pero sana wag nating gawin na naging bahagi na lang ng kasaysayan yung 300,000 taong namatay. Dapat we learn from that mistake that never again that we will allow this kind of deaths.
So, Mr. Chair, bakit palagi na lang ginagamit natin yung tinatawag na stick and carrot approach? Di ba? I mean, okay, pag hindi nyo ginawa ito, hindi namin kayo bibigyan ng vaccines. Hindi naman kayo papautangin. Ganun palagi. Stick and carrot approach. Don't we have any right? Ito ang question. Don't we have any right as a sovereign nation, na gumawa tayo ng sariling standard for the sake of the Filipino people? Meron ba tayong right o wala? Anybody can answer among the DOH.
Who wants to answer the query pa na? Congressman, Chairman Abante. Siguro, kung wala, let's ask yung mga sino bang mga pwedeng who wants to reply. Sige, Doktora.
Sir, I'd like to beg the indulgence of Mark from the FDA. There is no such thing as a required sample size for reporting because it's spontaneous. Okay? Nung ginawa po namin yung rule na 10,000, 10 reports per 10,000, yun po ay sa mga drug na bagong binigyan ng certificate of registration. Bagong drugs po yun. So part of pharmacovigilance...
Doktora, yan pang inyong sinasabi, medyo in-advisean yung DOH dyan?
Hindi po ako taga-DOH. Hindi po
Alam
rin
ko
ako
po,
tinanong.
as a private person that knows very well the situation bilang doktor, siguro pwede po kayo mag-advise sa DOH tungkol dyan. Gumawa ba kayo ng paraan para sabihin sa DOH, no, ito, mali ito. Why don't you do something about this?
Actually, sir, naging resource speaker din ako noon sa emergency use authorization. Pero nagulat po ako sa sagot ni Mark. Kasi maybe WHO expects 10 reports per 100,000 of doses. Kasi po, iba yung 10 out of 10 reports of 10,000. Ni-require po namin yun pag ang drug, merong preclinical trial. Meron siyang data na nakikita sa hayop at sa phase 1 and phase 2 na may side effect na ganito ka-frequent. And you need 10 times the denominator.
So, in other words, yung mga vaccine natin, hindi sila dumaan sa pre-trial?
Kasi po, hindi sila abbreviated ang trial ng vaccine natin.
How many
COVID.
stages yung pre-trial bago iturok sa tao?
Medyo mabilis po siya because usually
Hindi, kasi
pag
yung last
vaccine,
natin,
10 years po ang vaccine development. Ito 10 months lang.
Yun na nga eh.
So, hindi ko po alam kung
yun nga sinasabi natin sa DOH. We have to be careful again with the vaccine that will be vaccinated to our people in the next, quote, na pandemic. Kasi yan ang pinaprepare na nila eh. Pandemic eh. So, vaccine na naman. Tuturukan na naman tayo. So, that have to undergo a series of tests that is required by
the regulatory agency po.
by the regulatory
FDA.
agency.
Opo.
Kasi nga nangyayari, dahil napabilis yung ating vaccine noong nakaraang pandemic, so tinanggap na lang natin na ito ay safe and effective. While our law that was approved by the Congress, sinasabi, kailangan safe and effective siya. Pero hindi tayo dumaan doon sa clinical testing that is required by the regulating agency.
Ang dinaanan po natin is efficacy trial.
Yeah, kaya
Kasi
nga,
ang
efficacy
safety
trial
po,
is not
opo.
construed as a series of pace of checking to the animals and to the hindi ganon.
Abbreviated din ang sa basa ko po on my readings, maiikli yung mga phases. So
Ayun,
in fact,
DOH.
walang toxicologic study, walang reproductive study, walang mutagenicity study.
So DOH, you have to be sa susunod po I hope na kapag nag-announce na naman kasi dito sa IHR sinabi dito once na sinabi ni Tedros na may pandemic, yun na yun, magkakaroon na po tayo ng nakalagay dito sa I forgot the pero kababasa ko lang kanina doon sa international regulation.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
pwede po kaming sumali.
Opo.
Kasi kanina pa kami nakikinig dito eh.
Congressman Acop, you have the floor right now. Go ahead.
Kasi meron pang thank you, Mr. Chair. Kasi may deliverables tayo in the last hearing eh. Now, have we is Director Ferdinand Salcedo of the Bureau of Quarantine present today?
Ayan, andyan siya. Chairman Acop, you can ask him a question. Andyan po siya.
Hindi. Kinukuha ko lang yung kwan. About the head of the DOH NAEFIC,
Nandito ba siya? Excuse, what's the reason? She was in Cebu. For what purpose? Based on Cebu. In Cebu. Okay.
yung unang reason niya is logistics, di ba? So, anong reason niya ngayon?
Ngayon, in Cebu. Anong Anong position niya?
Head ng NAEFIC, yung adverse effect.
National Adverse Effect After Immunization.
Yes.
Kailangan nandito siya. Siguro, we'll be inviting her for the third time. Hindi siya umaten? She resides in Cebu. Maybe next time we can ask her in the Zoom if you want to. Nasa Cebu siya eh. Is she connected with the DOH? O baka doon siya naka-assign sa region? Kilala niyo po siya sa national?
Bakit,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, bakit yung mga regional director ng LTFRB, yung regional director ng LTO, napapa-invite natin dito at dumarating
Yes, correct.
po sila? Why would what would be the excuse of the head of the NAEFIC?
Yeah.
NAEFIC?
Sige, so we would be asking again,
Mr. Chair, how many times have we invited her?
Twice.
And
Twice?
he was not able to attend.
Twice also.
Mr. Chair, isn't it that if we invite him a third time, that you ought to have a show order,
Ayan
show
na.
cause order, di ba?
In that two invitation, may letter excuse ba? Mayroon?
Anong letter excuse
Anong excuse niya? Why should that be cited in contempt?
Sige, Comsec, you order.
Dear Congressman Fernandez, I was informed of your committee's invitation to attend the congressional hearing pursuant to House Resolution 1481, scheduled on June 11, 2024. As much as I would like to attend the hearing, I respectfully decline the invitation for logistical constraints as I am based in Cebu City where I reside and hold my clinical practice. Very truly yours, Dr. Faith D. Villanueva, Chair of the National Adverse Events Following Immunization Committee of the DOH.
She needs to be here in the next hearing. So, Congressman Paduano.
That is her ba? Or his?
Her.
Her reply on in today's invitation. How about the first invitation?
Ganon din.
Ganon din sagot niya. Hindi pwede. Is she still connected with government? Is being... kung hindi, Mr. Chairman, pwede na i-refund yan.
Hindi siya part ng government.
Is that part of the government?
Private siya. Ano siya? Ma'am, sige nga, please answer.
Mr. Chair, she's a private individual po kasi. She's a private practitioner and not part of the Department of Health, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Hindi. Yung national adverse... sige, go ahead, Congressman.
Mr. Chair, if she is a private individual, bakit po siya ginawang head ng DOH and AEFIC?
Please reply.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, the National AFI Committee is one parang entity po under DOH. However, it is the composition po, we invite experts po from the fields kasi the task of the NAFIC and the Regional AFI Committee is to assess nga po yung causality ng mga AFI cases. So we invite, tulad ni Doktora, she's an infectious disease specialist po.
Doktora.
Yung pong ating chair po.
Doktora, let me cut you there.
Ay, sige, Mr. Chair.
Are you trying to tell me and the members of this committee na walang infectious disease expert ang DOH? So that you got a private person to head this committee?
Mr. Chair, hindi naman po kailangang private individual. We
bakit
invite
na?
experts.
Kasi you're making it an excuse na hindi siya maka-attend dahil private person siya.
Opo. Mr. Chair, we would invite personnel outside of DOH so that there's no bias or they are non-partial po, no? There are experts. We have infectious disease experts in our hospitals, but they're part of government. So this committee po are composed of non-government personnel. And one of the reasons why we do so is para nga po non-partial po sila.
Doktora,
doon po sa
you're just telling me na yung mga experts para sa DOH ay bias. Because when they are part of government and performing government functions, the presumption of regularity in the performance of one's duty is available to them. Yun ang sinasabi mo sa akin eh. Kung yun ang rason po ninyo.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'm not saying that we're biased, but that could
Yun ang
be...
sinasabi nyo para hindi bias kasi eh.
But para, kumbaga yung appearance po na it is composed of government, we'd like to minimize as much as possible po yung ganong perception po. That's why we would like to also invite experts outside of government.
Pero ginawa po ninyong head eh.
Mr. Chair, may I respond po?
Yeah.
Who decided on that issue that the head of the national
AFI committee,
immunization
sir.
adverse effect after sino nag-decide na maging private yan? IATF?
No, Mr. Chair. What
Sino?
happens po, para po malaman what's the composition of the NAFIC is we do invite these experts. They undergo a process. So they submit their curriculum vitae so that we see kung ano po yung specialty nila. And then these are actually recommended po to our head of the cluster or team prior for their approval po.
She used to work with the OH.
I'll have to check, Mr. Chair, if she has experience.
She used to
with
work and she just
government.
retired.
Mr. Chair, no, not related to government even prior po.
Chairman Acop, yung tanong ni Chairman Acop, you
Ang
please
tanong
answer
kasi,
directly
Doc,
the question.
Chairman, ang tanong kasi, who decide for that doctor to be the chairperson of the...
Sir, yung pong composition po, that is what I was describing, that they undergo the vetting process. Yun po. Tapos from those po who were selected, they themselves po yung pumipili or they decide amongst themselves internally. So yung pong NAFIC committee po. Yung pong mga members po ng NAFIC ang nagde-decide amongst themselves. If there are, yes, Mr. Chair, if there are experts who come from government, the
wait.
members of the committee, Mr.
Who are
Chair.
those?
It depends, Mr.
No,
Chair.
ang tinatanong ko, who are those members that is connected in government? Bakit hindi sila pwede mag-head?
No, sir, hindi ko po
Ang
sinasabing
tinatanong
hindi
ko nga,
po.
who are those? Para ma-check namin.
Sige, sir. Can we
Because
submit the names
they are
of the
being
members
paid.
of our NAFIC, Mr. Chair?
By the taxpayers' money. Tapos piliin mo yung private, then you cannot attend this hearing. Dahil privado siya.
Sir, as to the names and list of the members of the committee, we will submit po to the committee po yung pangalan at listahan.
Okay, oo. Kasi
Mr.
napaka-critical yung, but before, very critical yung adverse effect after immunization being handled by the private sector. Congressman Acop.
That is precisely the reason why I asked for the presence of that head. Simply because if we recall, in the last hearing, the FDA was not able to come up with a causality report. And the reason given was that it was not under their jurisdiction. It was under the jurisdiction of NAA, FIC. Paano natin may determine yung causality ng excess death if the guy who is supposed to answer the questions here is not present? That is why I'm looking for him. Dahil yun ang naging problema natin nung last hearing. The FDA was not able to answer questions on causality.
So I think being head of the, that,
Siya ang tinuro
Yes.
ng FDA na siya makaka-explain eh.
so we'll be, issuing a show cause order to this personality for her to appear on the next hearing. Or
May I
motion
proceed,
muna
Mr.
kayo.
Chairman.
Motion tayo ng heavy
Chairman,
wording.
actually, I understand the situation of that doctor because she's a private doctor. But of course, she should be present in this hearing for us to be enlightened with regards to issues being raised by this committee. Now, pwede namang i-refund talaga yan, Mr. Chairman. Under
Yeah.
our rules, internal rules, pag privado, pwedeng i-refund. No, that's why pumunta siya. Then, refund. Then, Mr. Chairman, hindi siguro si Hukos, just an invitation, and again, we will explain to her na pwedeng i-refund.
Okay.
But, Mr. Chairman, we should also invite all those members, especially yung working in government, or members of that EFIC.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman.
The COMSEC is hereby directed to invite those personalities, including the members of the NAFIC. Okay, go ahead, Congressman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Attorney, you were in the World Health Assembly.
Yes, Your Honor.
What was the position of the Philippine government vis-a-vis the Philippine pandemic, the pandemic treaty?
Insofar as our position po, we base our positions on our experiences during
No,
the
no, no.
pandemic.
I'm not asking for the basis of your answer. I'm asking what was the stand of the government?
Okay. We follow the commitment of our president with regard to the pandemic agreement.
The commitment of your?
Of the president during the UN General Assembly that we are committed to come up with a pandemic agreement in line with global solidarity so that we will be prepared for the next pandemic. And if ever so, we will be able to prevent the next pandemic.
It was the Secretary of the DOH who stated our position. Tama po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And I would like to quote yung sinabi ng inyong boss sa kuan na yun, sa assembly na yun. We advocate support for the pandemic agreement that is balanced, operationalizes equity, recognizes our common resolve to change the status quo, and address vulnerabilities. We laud esteemed representatives who tirelessly negotiated a legally binding agreement that will save millions of lives in future pandemics. Thank you very much. Quote, unquote. Yun po yung statement ng ating Secretary of DOH na nag-represent po sa bansa natin. Tama po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, what is now the status of that pandemic agreement? Is it now in effect?
No, Your Honor, it's still ongoing negotiation because the pandemic agreement did not reach its consensus during the WHA. Hence, we were provided an extension period to negotiate to find consensus among 194 member states.
May I ask now, if you can guarantee to us, members present this afternoon, if the pandemic agreement will not impinge in any way insofar as our sovereignty and rights as a people are concerned?
Yes, Your Honor, we can assure that because it has been a constant position of the Philippines to protect its sovereignty as a nation.
Attorney, that is of record, ah?
Yes, Your
Pwede
Honor.
kitang singilin sa susunod kung hindi.
It's also on record during our negotiations, Your Honor, if it will appease the committee.
Yeah. Now, will this agreement pass through the Senate?
Yes, Your Honor, definitely it will.
It will. Thank you. Now, may I ask, what is now the status of the IHR? Because these are two different things. Tama po?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, what is the status of the IHR?
Insofar as the World Health Assembly, it was already adopted, but insofar as the Philippines is, we are still awaiting for its possible implementation because we are given the 10-month period, whether we accept, we reject, or we reserve the international health regulations as amended and adopted during the WHA 77.
When is the deadline of that?
10 months. What's the 10 months? End of April of next 2025.
2025. And we have also a team from the Philippines which will study
Yes, Your Honor.
the provisions of this IHR.
Yes, Your Honor.
May I ask again, would these amendments to the IHR impinge on our sovereignty and our individual rights?
No, Your Honor. One of the principles is actually lodged on the sovereignty of nations as well. And I can also vouch that all member states are also, the state parties in the international health regulations are also on the common ground with regard to the protection of its sovereignties.
Yeah. I have read the opinions of other countries not conforming with the amendments of the IHR. Does our country have any non-conforming opinion insofar as the IHR are concerned?
As of now, we're still studying the package, whether we are able to implement, because we are seeing whether there will be possibility of changes in policies that we cannot meet within the period required of the 10-month period. So rest assured, we are studying. Hence, at this point, the Philippines has not yet implemented the package of the 77 WHA of the IHR amendment.
I'm worried about this, attorney, simply because in the previous amendments to this IHR, Congress was not consulted, and it was admitted in the last hearing. So, kung kayo lang po ang magde-decide, samantalang yung ibang bansa ay yung kanilang mga matataas na tao, mga membro ng Congress nila ang nagsasabi na ayaw nila na sumali dyan o kaya ayaw nila yung mga provisions sa IHR because some of the provisions thereat impinge on their sovereignty and individual rights. Kaya ako po sinisiguro po sa inyo na baka kayo ay makalimutan nyo na dapat protektahan nyo rin yun. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yan, as a matter of fact, Congressman Acop, yun yung ating pinagtatalunan dati, di ba? Prior to December 1. And they keep on telling us that, hindi, may period pa ng pagmi-meeting, may series of meeting pa. And then suddenly, noong May 27 to June 1, IHR amendments were ratified. So ngayon, ibang ibang usapan yun eh. Kaya hindi tayo na-inform talaga about that IHR amendment. But basically, what we know right now is pinaikli nila yung amendment and the ratification in accordance with the rule that will be followed by that pandemic treaty that being negotiated by the DOH right now. Yan ang ninegotiate nyo na yung pandemic eh. Pag yan ang negotiation, so ira-ratify na yan after, i-implement na yan after a year.
Meron po
madali na.
bang nagsabi sa inyo o naniniwala kayo that Congress should be informed? on that by the DOH, you being an agency of the government, and the Congress is the one giving the budget to you?
Your Honor, if with regard to the international health regulations, just to be precise with my answer, with the international health regulations,
Yes.
yes. In our for us, the international health regulations following Article 21 of the WHO Constitution are actually sets of standards that are in such case that when we adopted them, they are we considered them, and as with guidance with our with the previous implementation of the IHR, they were considered as executive agreements. Hence, we, in our mind, it's something that's within the executive branch policy. But nonetheless, with the new sets of amendments, that's the reason why we are studying them, whether there's really a need for not just it's not merely something that we can just implement as it is, or if it will really entail the participation of the Congress. So that's one part of our prudence with regard to the new sets of amendment packages.
Attorney, I'm not concerned about what they're saying, but what I'm concerned about is your duty to inform the Congress about that. Palagay ko, that would now go to the Oversight Committee so that we'll be able to really, establish. Kinakailangan ba na i-inform ng DOH the Congress natin on this issue of the international
Agreement. Treaty.
health regulations agreement? I think that it would be up to you initiating that procedure. Anyway,
Okay.
Chair.
Yeah.
It's now 6.
Yes,
it's now 5.
hanggang 6 lang po talaga tayo dito.
now
And
five.
extended
Last lang
na po
ako,
tayo.
Chairman.
But
Last-
before,
One last point.
I just wanted, sige, okay, go ahead.
Anyway, Chairman, Attorney, you mentioned about the working group now. You mentioned about the working group with regards to the ISR.
Yes, po. They have ceased already to exist due to the finalization of the amendment package. So the working group is in charge of the amendment package for the international health regulations.
Yeah. So, sino-sino yung mga members dito? Are you a member of that working group?
I have a representative from legal. Mainly the members are coming from the focal point of our the IHR, which is the epidemiology, the Bureau of
Who
Quarantine.
chairs that working group?
If with your indulgence, may
Anyway,
I...
Mr. Chairman, we might invite the chairman of that working group in the next hearing so that the Congress will be updated with regards to the developments of that.
Yes.
Yeah, sa working group. Yung, kahit chairman lang po. Next hearing. Thank you, Chairman. And, Chairman, I'd just like to reiterate yung statement ni Chairman Benebanti. That's part of our oversight function because that is an international agreement. So Congress should be updated and Congress should intervene on such agreement, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Siguro, anybody from the group to want to say something? Pasensya na po talaga kayo, no? Kasi na-delay tayo ng almost 2 hours. Supposedly, allotted dito mga 2.5 hours eh. But unfortunately, we have to leave these premises, no? Before 6. So, briefly sana, para makapagano
Yes,
lang. Yung mga group ng mga nagkaroon ng sinasabing alleged victims. Sige, go ahead.
Good afternoon to the honorable members of the committee. I'm Attorney Bello for CDCPH Lunas Pilipinas. As a tax-paying citizen, I think I would like to raise 2 concerns, especially Honorable Abante. From a legal perspective, I'm quite bothered that my question is, do we have room to determine our own position when the Secretary of Health has already made a commitment to support the pandemic agreement? when we don't even know yet what it contains. So that may have been a premature commitment. It's like signing a blank
Yeah.
check. And so
Yeah, you have the right to be heard. You have the right, to
right.
be heard.
So that's one of our concerns. If there is already a commitment by the highest representative of our nation for these matters, how much leeway does our negotiating panel have in, let's say, digressing from what is recommended by the other, let's say, more powerful nations?
Yeah, that's the reason why we will be inviting Secretary
Yes.
Herbosa on this issue, no? Regarding this statement din ni Congressman Acop, which he quoted on saying that it was mentioned by Secretary Herbosa. Congressman Acop.
Panyera, that is precisely the reason why I asked DOH whether the pandemic treaty, which was brought out in the World Health Assembly, would pass the Senate. Because all treaties entered into by our country, as you know, should pass the Senate. And
Yes,
I
sir.
think this is where we can scrutinize the provisions of that pandemic treaty.
Yes, sir. But that leads me to my second question, sir. Because even with the assurance of the approval of the Senate of the pandemic treaty, we'd like to go back to the very basic experience in the Philippines. RA 11525, which was a very clear law, where Section 12 stated that the vaccine card would not be necessary for transactions in government, for employment, and all those things. Even that, so simple, so clear, was not followed by the executive department. That was a product of your work, sir.
Yeah.
That was your policy. That was a policy of
That
Congress.
was not followed by the
And
executive.
it was not followed by the executive.
Yeah.
So what is our assurance? If that local law, which was so clear, even a grade 5 student who knows English could understand it, what is our assurance that something that is ratified by the Senate but is binding on the international community will,
But during the time, attorney, we were all caught unaware.
Yeah.
We were all caught in a fear factor situation because lahat tayo during that time, this is a novel virus. And that's the reason why whatever resolution or whatever decision of the IATF, we swallowed. But this time, there are people like Congressman Acop, Congressman Paduano, Congressman Abante, myself, Congressman Romulo, and the others who are now on guard of this policy that will be drafted and crafted by the executive department. We will see to it that we will be able to see the protocol that will be followed on the next pandemic.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
they are warning us.
Yes, sir. But
WHO is already
Yes,
warning
sir,
us.
but-
Everybody is warning us. But we have to see that the right health protocol that will be followed by our country will be based on our experience on the last pandemic.
Yeah, attorney, that's why I mentioned that because we have an oversight function here. So I'd like to make a motion that we again call the DOH in the oversight committee on this,
Yes.
Mr. Chair. I make that motion right now.
Let me give my point of view, Attorney, to your question. Kasi galing ako sa militar at saka uniform service. You know, we accept the fact that it was an emergency situation. Tama po ba? Or you do not accept it?
yes, sir.
You accept it. And in an emergency situation, there has to be a decision. Otherwise, the outcome will be more disastrous. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And therefore, government has to act. Tama po? Even if there was a provision of law that says so, pag emergency, that law can be waived. Why? Because of the emergency situation. Government has to decide. Kasi kami, na naka-uniforme, pag nandun na kami sa battlefield, pag hindi kami nag-decide, mas malaki yung damage na nangyayari sa amin eh. That is why we say that a wrong decision is better than no decision at all.
Yes,
was
but
where
with-
government was during that situation.
Pwede pa tayo extend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I just received a text that we can still extend like another 30 minutes. So go ahead, Congressman. Can we allow other members of the resource speakers to speak also? Please identify yourself and you are recognized.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and sa lahat po sa atin dito. I think what Attorney Bello was saying was that kung yung batas nga natin na RA 11525 na napakadaling maintindihan ng mga lehitimong mamamayang Pilipino ay hindi nga ginalang nitong ating mga ahensya ng gobyerno, how much more pa po kung yung magle-level up na siya into an international law. And Mr. Chair, bilang isang pastor at nagmula po sa Davao, nakabahagi po kami ng Lunas Pilipinas, ang amin pong ipinaparating ay, maaari ho ba na maging kabahagi ang hanay namin sa Lunas Pilipinas sa gagawing technical working group? Para nang sa gayon po, mag-meet halfway po tayo na hindi yung nabubulaga tayong lahat, kagaya po ng sinasabi natin, naririnig natin sa ating mga congressmen na nagsasalita kanina, aminado tayo na there was an emergency na kinailangan gampanan ng ating mga halal sa bayan. Subalit, hindi nangangahulugan yon na isang option lang ang ating gagawin. Isa lang ang ating pakikinggan. Kagaya na lamang po sa hanay namin, nung minandatoryo po, yung minandatoryo ninyo, yung bakunahan, lalong-lalo na po yung pagpapatupad ng IATF, nakasaad naman po sa Section 12 ng RA 11525 na hindi po siya mandatoryo. Subalit, napilitan ho ang maraming kababayan natin na sumunod dahil sa kagustuhang makapaghanap buhay, kagustuhang may mga emergency na kailangan mapuntahan. So, I think that was where our good lawyer, Attorney Bello, was coming from. Yun lang po. Thank you po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, may I? Thank you. Alam po ninyo, ang asawa ko po'y namatay dahil sa sa pandemic. So alam ko yung suffering, mga nilalagay nyo dyan ng mga litrato. She died during the pandemic because of COVID. And she did not receive any vaccine kasi ayaw pa niya nung una eh. So she had a choice. Di ba? Kasi meron na yung Chinese vaccine noon eh. Sinovac. She did not avail of it because she wanted na yung gawa sa other countries other than China ang magamit niya. So, yung sinasabi po ninyo, ako nga pabor doon sa ginagawa ng gobyerno noon eh. Why? Kasi maganda lang tayo magsalita ngayon yung diferensya because we were not there. Hindi tayo ang decision maker nung panahon na yon. Pero if you were in the shoes of government, would you have done otherwise, Pastora? Would you have done otherwise?
Mr. Chair, what I am saying is, hindi kami tutol na nanindigan o gumawa kayo ng hakbang para po papasukin ang bakuna dito sa ating bayan. What we are trying to say was that kung yung simpleng pong batas na kayang maunawaan ng mga elementary grades natin ng mga kabataan sa Pilipinas na hindi kaya ngang masubstantiate na maipatupad ng maayos, how much more po kung papasok tayo dun sa isang panibagong international law na kagaya po ng sinasabi ng mahal nating attorney na nagmula sa DOH, binibigyan niya tayo ng assurance na talagang sisiguraduhin daw nila na hindi yung sobereintiya natin hindi maisasaalang-alang. Subalit, ang tanong natin, hindi pa nga tapos yung technical working group ninyo, nagsasabi na kayo na ipapasa nyo sa Senado. Pangalawa, may nauna ng statement ang ating Secretary ng Department of Health na they are 100% in support. So parang, saan tayo papasok dun kung hindi pa pala tapos pero meron ng commitment? That's all, Mr. Chair.
Mali po yata yung intindi nyo, Pastora. Hindi naman po nila sinabi na ipapasa doon sa Senado. ang sinasabi po lang namin ay lahat ng tratado na pipirmahan ng ating bansa, dadaan sa scrutiny ng Senado because that is what the law says. Number two, the Secretary of Health, I'm not defending him. The Secretary of Health did not say 100% na support. May mga condition nga siya eh. Kaya nga binasa ko eh. There are conditions that he stated for his country's support to the pandemic treaty. That treaty is supposed to be balanced. It will operationalize equity. So may mga conditional. Kaya hindi 100%, Pastora. You better read that.
I stand corrected, Mr. Chair, but that's what I understand during the exchange of conversation.
Statement of the Secretary of DOH during the World Health Assembly. Binasa ko, I quoted it. I have a video of that also.
Yes, correct. Thank you so much. I saw it. You showed it to me. Okay. Dr. Landrito. Sige, go ahead.
Yes, I would like to address this to Honorable Congressman Acop. As far as you were saying we were in an emergency, right? But CDCPH...
There was an official declaration of an emergency situation in our country.
Yes. As early as August 2020, CDCPH has been asking for an audience with the OH because we were proposing for a different treatment protocol for prevention and treatment. They never gave us. They gave us the chance. We were in a Zoom meeting with Dr. Duque in June 15, 2021. So many months have passed. But our experience from that time on, that span of time, we were able to save hundreds of thousands of lives using our protocol. And I would say it is highly probable and possible that your wife could still be alive today if she received the treatment that we were proposing. Personally, I was spearheading the distribution of ivermectin, which was proven
Doctor,
to be...
let me cut you there.
Yes.
My wife had a choice. I'm telling you that. Katabi ko siya sa pagtulog eh. I know better my wife than you do.
Yes.
Diba?
Yes,
She had a choice. Pwede siyang magpabakuna. Pero she chose differently. So wag nyo nang sisihin siya.
I'm not blaming her. I'm blaming what I'm pertaining to was the treatment, not the vaccine. We were proposing, and they were demonizing our proposal. 5 times they gave advisories, the DOH, I mean, that ivermectin was not good, was not to be used by the doctors. When in fact, those who used it anyway.
I read that.
Yeah.
I read all
Were
the
saved.
the debates about your protocol. I read that also.
The truth is, DOH never heard it. It's fortunate that you heard it, but they never heard. They gave us a chance only on June 15. And you know what they said after we proposed it? Yes, we will do it, of course. But we will have to wait for the clinical trial. And they did the clinical trial January 2022. And only just in incipient stage, just 2 weeks, they stopped the trial. So nothing
Doctor, I
happened.
cannot answer you because I was not a member of the IATF. Maybe we should wait for the presence of Dr. Duque, who was then the Secretary of the Department of Health and a member of the IATF.
So what I'm saying, sir, here is we could have made a big difference. You were saying, were you doing what were you doing during the pandemic? This is what we've been doing, and that is what we have accomplished.
Doctor, kasi ako kwan eh. Hindsight is the perfect science. I think you know what I mean.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sige, Sally. Then I will be asking yung sa Bureau of Quarantine. Kasi may question sa iyo si Congressman Acop eh. I will be asking you. Okay.
Thank
Sally
you.
Clark.
Yeah, I would just like to put on record that in terms of adverse reaction reporting systems, there are known underreporting factors. The international underreporting factor in the US is known to be 40 to 100 times. The underreporting factor in the Philippines will definitely be very much higher, which means that our adverse reporting system did not capture most of the deaths and most of the injuries. And yet, by the 4th of April in 2021, 1 month after vaccine rollout, there were already 28,000 reports of adverse reactions and 45 reports of deaths. Thank you.
So what is clear ay talagang meron yung mga excess deaths, no? And thank you for that, no? And siguro we have to update sa PSA. Andiyan din ang PSA, no? Andiyan ang PSA, no? So after quarantine, ay sa Bureau of Quarantine, kasi nag-issue kayo ng high alert, eh. Sinasabi ni Congressman Acop during that time, kapag high alert, meron silang pinagbabasihan. Yung representative mo na pinadala dito the last time, ang sabi niyang basis niya, hindi yung mga merong flirt virus, kundi yung sinabi ng WHO. Doon siya nag-rely. So, tell us, yung bang naging basis niyo to issue a high alert situation on flirt virus?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Actually, our basis in issuing that advisory, the heightened alert, this advisory was really intended for our station chief and the frontliners of the Bureau of Quarantine. And it was based mainly on the news of the increased cases internationally, especially Singapore. They reported about 25,000 new cases of the new variant of COVID. This was based on our international surveillance section in the Bureau of Quarantine. So the data came from that section. So aside from the 25,000 reported new cases in Singapore, we are receiving about more than 17 flights a day from Singapore, and about 4,000 to 5,000 travelers from Singapore entering the Philippines daily. So that made us issue that advisory just to alert our station chief and our yung ating manpower sa ating frontliners. Just to enhance and strengthen.
So yun ang naging basis ninyo, yung mga cases outside our country. Since kayo is a Bureau of Quarantine, yung pagpasok dito ng mga tao natin, so you issued a high alert situation where it created some fear among our countrymen. Di ba? Nag-create to eh. Correct? And that's the reason why we ask, no, not me, but Congressman Acop asked you, your representative, what is the basis of the high alert? And it is all based on what is happening outside our country. Okay, now I got it. Congressman Acop, please.
May I ask the Bureau of Quarantine representative, ang basis po ninyo is because of the number of affected personnel in the country, Singapore? Yes. Tama po ba? I've been there. I arrived from Singapore last Saturday. Wala naman ako nababasang ganun eh. Doon. Walang bulletin lahat doon. Namasyal kami doon sa napakalaki nilang airport. Walang sinasabi. People were not wearing masks. Some people were because voluntary yung kanila. There was no sign of any alert in Singapore. Pero tayo, may alert tayo, heightened alert.
Now, before you answer do sa query ni Congressman, I would like to substantiate his experience in Singapore as well. Because prior to his departure to Singapore, I was in Singapore. And I even called Congressman Acop when I was in Singapore. So, prior to his departure to Singapore, he told me that he's going to Singapore. Now, ngayon ko lang na-realize that nung pumunta kami doon, talagang walang notice of anything, walang mga face mask, pagpasok mo doon, ang bilis, paglabas mo doon, ganun din, and even the people who are roaming around, talagang makikita mo that there was no panic or fear or anything about what we have issued high alert situation of this country. Sige, Congressman Ako.
Kaya ako po tinatanong yung representative nyo nung last hearing. Kasi I do not know what the people or what you want the people do or follow during a heightened alert. Yun po yung gusto kong malaman. Ano ba dapat ang gusto nyo mangyari sa mga tao during a heightened alert, when you declare a heightened alert?
Actually, as I mentioned earlier, sir, the intention of that advisory is for our people, sa frontliners and our chief at the stations, just to enhance their yung screening nila sa mga borders po natin, just to heighten and enhance their screening process, just to be strict in reviewing yung e-travel, yung health declaration checklist that is found in the e-travel portal, and the usual thermal scanning at the borders. Although this virus is considered mild, low ang kanyang virulence, it could create havoc sa ating mga immunocompromised people, yung mga may sakit. This can cause severe infection and even death for immunocompromised people.
Could you not have done it otherwise so that it would not have caused some sort of a little panic on the part of the populace? Kasi intended for your frontliners, sabi po ninyo eh.
Yes.
But it has affected the citizens of this country.
It was not intended na mag-leak po sa media, but it happened.
Kaya ngayon nga ang tanong ko eh, what do you expect of us, the citizens, to do during a declaration of a heightened alert? Yun po yung gusto kong malaman. Di po ba?
Please reply, quarantine. Go ahead.
It was stated in that advisory that they should, what they learned during the past pandemic, that they had to, the usual in protecting themselves, like frequent hand washing, using masks if they think they are exposed or they are somebody or infected or they are in a crowded place where it's not safe, especially for travelers if they are visiting that country where there are increased incidence of that new COVID variant.
Kasi, alam po ninyo, there are 40,000 foreign visitors in Singapore every day. Pero sa nakikita ko doon, normal na normal yung takbo ng buhay nila habang sinasabi po ninyo na 25,000 plus ang naapektuhan ng virus na ito. Tayo, wala pang ang report na 100 na nagkukuan, heightened alert kagad tayo. I just do not know. Kaya tinatanong ko yung basis po ninyo pag dideklara ng heightened alert. Kasi sa militar, pag nag-declare kami ng red alert, may basis. Yun po yung amin. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so we'll be asking as well yung other PSA, can you kindly tell us doon sa mga series of hearings natin, you mentioned yung increase ng excess deaths, di ba? So suddenly in the last hearing you mentioned that there was a reduction, no, nung excess deaths on the totality nung deaths sa atin, no? So can you kindly give us an update?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Based dun sa past 5 years, sir, we have to update the official data. We have the published na official data, which is a cut-off. And we included those late submission. Kaya medyo may effect siya, bumaba siya yung average na updated counts ng excess deaths to 293,000. Kasi yung average ng 5 years, tumaas, sir. May konti na nadagdag na mga deaths.
So from 297,000 excess deaths,
yes,
yung totality ng average ng 5 years
yes,
is now 292,000.
293 na po yung excess deaths. Excess deaths, sir. From the updated counts na 885,000 deaths, 876 in 2021.
Yes, but in comparison to the previous years, prior to that 5 years period, hindi ganoon yung ating excess deaths.
Yes, sir, because as I've mentioned, may cut-off period
Yes,
to the
correct.
official.
So yung 5 years prior to the 5 years that you are mentioning right now, that 292,000, there was an increase of how many percent on the excess deaths? Normally, yung nakaraang 5 taon, prior to these 5 years that you are telling us, na 297,000, na ngayon 292,000, how many percent ang tinaas ng excess deaths natin doon sa period ng 5 years na yan?
We'll compute the percentage, Mr. Chair, but the total deaths, based dun sa 2021 na published, is only 879,429. But the updated data, based dun sa mga late submissions pa on the occurrence of that event for 2021, is 885,876. And as I've mentioned, yung
So
average...
hindi mo alam yung percentage? Okay, so we're wrapping up. So 5 minutes more, and then we're done. So how many percent? Okay, so any other resource speakers who wanted to speak? Kasi marami kayong mga nakikita namin mga pictures na to eh. Ito ba yung mga naging, you want to speak? Who want to speak? Wala na po. So kung wala na po, PSA, last word, how many? How many percent? Kasi ang estimate ng napag-usapan dito that was established was 43% ang increase niya doon sa last 5 years prior to the COVID pandemic. Ma'am, kung wala po kayo dyan, sabihin nyo na lang po, okay naman po kami. Submit nyo na lang po sa amin. Wala po kayo dyan. Acting kayo ng acting na may tinitignan kayo. Wala naman po kayo tinitignan ata eh. Meron po ba?
The updated data. We have here...
Submit nyo na lang. Okay. So, with that, siguro po, kung wala na pong magsasalita, we will be scheduling another hearing for this. Alas 9 pa po kami nag-hearing. And Congressman Paduano, Congressman Acop are all tired. And so we will be having a motion to have a suspension.
To suspend the hearing.
So there's a motion to suspend this hearing. Duly seconded. Any objection? Hearing none. This committee hearing is now suspended. On behalf of public order.
On behalf of Committee on Affairs.
Pare.